We'll do this as a different part. The base is 50. Base is 880. Part 6, I think.
Is it part 7 or part 8 or part 9?
Part 6, I think. That's
10?
big enough. I'm thinking for
11. Let's call it part 13.
Part 6,
Unlucky for some.
Colin Boyle or whatever his name is.
Bloy.
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 You've only got 25 minutes recording each time. You know that.
Sorry. Pardon?
Have you switched on again?
Can you lick clean my board rubber, please? No.
He doesn't know how to do it. He's been made.
Chief Minion.
He has to retrain. Part 6, take 1.
Oh, I'm feeling exhausted after that hard work. Oh. So let's look at Colin Bloy, who was using the same technology but advanced it massively. Now he was the front man, the 007, for the secret military intelligence group that uses Elizabethan magic. So of course he was at 007. What's 007 mean? Well, if you look at the Fibonacci series, it starts with 1, 1. So it's basically killing off males, killing off females, and then applying the 7, which are the 7 double letters of Hebrew, which gives the 7 sins, all your bad stuff, to the Goyim, and all the good stuff from the Goyim to you. So that's what an 007 means. Now he of course was not a psychic, so he couldn't see energy, he could only douse it, so he needs a Edward Kelly, and I of course can see energy fields, consult with spirits, walk in interdimensional worlds, and all around I'm a superhuman being before I became transhuman. Why? Well, it's just evolution. You just get the race, we've got more and more humans, and the more humans you get, the more uplining they go to the human race, so eventually you get a human that can evolve. And unfortunately, the human race is simply not male, so you evolve and then you'll find out within a generation you start getting females that are trying to evolve and follow you, and you want to kill them, but until of course they get married and have children by fucktards, they're simply presenting in C-space, as I said, genitalia. But in my day, the only uber female would have been Madonna, and she's a complete fucktard. So she was just butchered and eaten when she fell off the stage by yours truly. Her C-space body consumed, killed, and now she's simply a raddled old hag who's whining because she hasn't got a man. Now Colin Bloy's genius was that we've got all this energy of Christianity, C-space, so let's call that the Christians. We've got all the energy from C-space of the new ages. Whoops, plonk. And this can be utilised for eye to the eye technology to produce new reality. So we go to St. Bartholomew's on St. Michael's Day, 1981, which is in September, and this eye energy has Colin Bloy inside, who's developed a C-space body so he can eye to the eye it and start using Christianity for this technology. But also, here, since he's in military intelligence and MI6, he's also developed the satanic side, which he kept from the light people, so he can do minus eye to the eye, which erases reality. And when you do it 5 times, you get completion. Hence the Pentagon, Big 5. And it's not as if they didn't understand this, but they hadn't systematized it into a science. So you see with the Israelis, they're working here. But remember, if you go down to the machine code, the bottom bit, and you think in mathematical terms, where all your thinking is Penrose, the Road to Reality, you can simply read the book, understand it, and apply that to all reality. Then, of course, whatever they do up here can be erased by the machine code. So you see why the Israelis and Geller have been made obsolete by people like me who can think, work in the machine code. Now, the St. Bartholomew's, we've got the tallest parish church in Europe. It's 144 feet high, 169 feet long. In fact, it's 170, but we can take, there's a doorway thingy. So if you measure it accurately, you find it's 169. That's 13 squared by 12 squared. And Enochian magic, you've got a checkerboard, which is 12 by 13. And we've got our black one, black one. So you can do some more, can't be bothered. That's Enochian magic was the Enochian spirits that talked to Dr. D through his quartz sphere, crystal ball. These Enochian angels then gave this technology to Kelly, and the Dr. D, the educated man, then formulated this to be used for Elizabeth I to turn England from the poorest country in the world to the richest, and used it to control reality, to produce the big negative torsion field superstorm that destroyed the Spanish Armada. And in a small way, the little negative torsion field energies around her enemies, so all her enemies were captured, their plans failed, and her chief competitor, Mary Queen of Scots, did a Katy Perry and had head chopped off. Hey hey video. Now, Colin Bloy was going to use Christianity plus the New Ages that produced lots of love and light. These are love and light generators. And Brighton Fountain, wee, beep, beep, beep. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, is the gateway to the underworld and the realm of dark energy matter. So he got the Christians and the New Agers to pump I, and it's the part of it, scalar, the force, into the fountain. And what he found was, when that happened, he could douse a checkerboard evolving around the fountain. So this checkerboard started a spread from the fountain. Whee. There we are. Fill in a few of them. And this checkerboard then allowed the erasing and addition of information and change of causality and change of timelines. So this is the application of the Argand diagram using beaming energy from Christians and New Agers into the fountain. Why would that work? Well, first of all, you've got the Earth, which has got huge energy, and the fountain was on the big ley line that comes in from the sea to the south. There's another one from the east, which comes from St. Michael's Mount into up London way. But this one at the south is providing the so-called sexual energy of the UK. And the UK on the globe was in the same position as the assemblage point, so one could say that the UK in 81 was the assemblage point of the planet. Anglo reality ruled the world in 81. Now one sees in shamanism that springs are gateways into the dark energy matter realm, and there are 7 different levels in the dark energy matter realm. And shamans like myself, when we fall asleep, wake up in this dark energy matter realms, and they say, well, you can test whether you're dreaming by pinching yourself. But of course, when I'm dreaming, I pinch myself, I feel it. I touch things in dark and in interdimensional realms, they're solid. Of course, I can walk through them if I want, because they've got massive amounts of power. But if a human wakes up in the dark energy matter realms, when they try and move through the walls, whatever they're trapped in, they can't, because they haven't got the energy. It takes energy to push through the walls that the dark energy matter or interdimensionals put up. And of course, since I've been developing a huge, massive energy body, even my time-like body, that's the body you use when you're dreaming, is like the Hulk smash. So I simply don't get scared. I go around ripping to pieces the spiders of Set, which are on the other side of the Kabbalistic tree, all the parasites that live in every three-space house and feed off all the human cattle inside. They feed off their time-like bodies. So your soul is being eaten alive by the predator that lives in your house. How can they do that? The predator is a three-space. It's in your house, and by eye to the eye, it can then apply this technology to you to erase part of you, eat it, and then add back to you, if it wants, possessing you more and more. So buildings not only can eat your soul, but then can possess you. So hence all these horror films about haunted houses and places you go and get possessed. The entities in there are bigger the building. So a huge building like the Pentagon will have a massive intradimensional predator parasite, while a normal little detached house will have a tiny little thing down the food chain. They've all got different food chains. This, of course, is so far beyond the perception of a human that they just simply laugh. No, this guy's mad, he's off his head, which is good. I don't mind. Like the great Lord Lucifer, I don't want you believing in me, because remember, this video isn't done for you, it's done for the Rothschilds, to put the fear of God up them, to show them that when they said they want to crush me like a flea and my ramblings would have no effect on reality, they signed their own death warrant. And of course, there's no saving the Rothschilds unless, of course, we get a witch and the billions, which then can become trillions. I don't mind, or quadrillions. If not, they're all going to be dead within 10 years. Don't believe it, but look back in time 10 years from now and you go, oh, the Rothschilds are dead. The entire West is burning from end to end. How did that happen? It's this ancient technology, this complex number technology, which is applied. Now, Colin, of course, had all of this lovely light energy being beamed at the fountain, and all the minus I came from these satanic entities that could then move up. So all these stargates and wells have like stairwells. If you wake up there, you'll see it's like a stairwell. Otherwise, if you're in one of these realms and you want to go down, you have to start digging, which takes a lot of energy, unless you're the Hulk. Remember, the Hulk can dig his way through, and then you burst your way through and then plop down to the next level. It takes a lot of energy. But you can find a stargate and simply walk down and move from multiverse to multiverse in the 7 multiverses of the dark energy realm. Which the mathematics, of course, of that are octonians, because octonians, you've got 7 complex numbers and 1 real number. And they multiply together to give you a grid. So they naturally produce a grid because the multiplication table for octonians is a grid. So we got our grid keeper who manages the mathematics of octonians. All hail to the grid keeper. Hence his title of chief minion. So the minus I comes from the fountain and produces the black squares, which are the minus I squares. And the white eye stuff comes from the Christians and the light workers, produces the grid, and the grid then produces the milieu for this complex number, I and minus I, in the form of a grid. And then the entities down here can wander up and start moving. So in Enochian magic, you've got pieces you move around the board, and you move these pieces around the board to control complex number space, which then allows the magician using Enochian magic to control reality. So all Colin Bloy was doing was Enochian magic, but on a grand scale. And he's feeding these entities that are coming up with all the good stuff from the Christians and the light workers. They of course get ill, old, mad, diseased, die. So his chief friend, who was a healer, died of cancer. And his helpers started dying off or growing old. And Colin Bloy got ill, lost all his money. But that's a natural resultant, because these things feed off not only the light workers, but the people who are connected with them. They don't honestly care who they feed off. And of course, Colin was the biggest, juiciest morsel for them to feed off. Me, of course, I'm not giving any of my energy to these entities. So instead of growing older and iller, I simply thrived. And the fountain group eventually were calling me, what are they calling me? Oh, the Antichrist. Isn't that good? Isn't that a good name? I like that one. Now, this checkerboard was the application of Colin's work, and then the ley line system, which was very simple, suddenly became 12 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And this 12 bar ley line then allows the 12, the good stuff, to flow into reality. So that meant that the rich, who were rich in 81, suddenly became super rich. Kill! Kill! Kill!
Jerry's fine. Sorry. Jerry, oh, chase it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? You see why dogs are the vehicles for these walk-ins. Every dog on the planet is just a parasite carrier. They carry the walk-in entities. Now, these 12 bar lines then fed good stuff into the Illuminati. So from the 80s onwards, the elite became horrendously rich. If they were rich, they became horrendously rich. As the working class and the middle class were destroyed, the unions were annihilated by this technology. Remember, Colin's inputting into this, destroy unions. We got the destruction of the unions and the kleptocracy of the West. Now we got a tiny percentage of people owning the complete West. All of the West. All because of this technology. Then, of course, the next stage is for Colin to travel to Russia, the USSR, and infect the energy system of the USSR. And he, of course, is the typhoid Mary. So he told me he's travelled to Russia 3 times, doing the rituals, talking to their light workers, love and light, can I heal you, all this business. Which then, of course, would, if you've got enough power, cause the grid, this checkerboard, to appear in Russia. Which then, of course, you can start controlling the Russian reality. Now, similarly, with Chernobyl, you've got your big reactor at Chernobyl. which has a sea space entity, and in Russia it's good, it's supplying all the energy for massive part of the Ukraine. And for the woodpecker effect, this huge transmitter that's mind-fucking the West. You can read about woodpecker, I think, in Schroeder and Ostrander's book, or in... yeah. Now, if you put the -I from these entities, which you're consorting with, because Colin Bloy was a Satanist, into Chernobyl, you can then, of course, start to fuck with the wetware at Chernobyl, who are operating the reactor, cause a meltdown, which then goes boom, which links up with Nostradamus's prophecies of Chernobyl, which in Russian means one of the things from Nostradamus's quatrains, which would come at Armageddon type time. So once we've got this giant reactor going boom, we've got a nice hell bomb, the hell bomb technology, in the USSR, in the Ukraine. And remember now, the big problem for the Russians is the Ukraine. They've got 1 million refugees in Russia from the Ukraine, and they've got NATO troops on their doorstep in the Ukraine. They've got Vietnam on their doorstep, which is Ukraine, all from this hell bomb that was detonated way back, I think, in '86. Now, once you produce the hell bomb, you can then start taking away information, causality, and change the timeline of Russia to destroy Russia, or in fact the USSR, and bring down the Soviet Empire. So you can see hell bomb technology isn't something I've suddenly plucked out of thin air. It was used against the pesky Russians, except Colin didn't understand the physics of hell bombs, because the -I in the hell bomb came from these dark entities which you could stick into the wetware, and it's very easy to detonate a nuclear reactor when you possess the wetware with the -I, start taking away from them safety protocols, and they simply fuck up and it goes into meltdown. We saw the same thing in America with 3 Mile Island. It's not the same as the Great Lord Beast, who used my technology to cause the earthquake that caused a tsunami, which blew up the 3 reactors to produce negative torsion field versions of the 3 pyramids for us vampires, which then meant I could manifest vampire technology in the deep past thanks to the Fukushima reactors blowing up. But that's another story.
What about the Hadron Collider?
Trying to manipulate the God particles, but that would work if we were in a reality. But remember, using this technology, you can matricize reality so that it doesn't matter what the wetware does, because you've simply erased their reality and put them in a 2-dimensional matrix. But that's another story. So with Colin Bloy, this technology was used to destroy the USSR. You put the checkerboard over the USSR, and then you can start controlling the wetware in the USSR like we control the unions, so that the wankers at Chernobyl would blow up the reactor. Then, of course, you hell bomb them, and you can start erasing from the Soviet population communism and rebooting it with the greatest weapon system of all time, Dallas. And, if we destroy the USSR, we'll all live in a Dallas lifestyle. We'll all be like Bobby Ewing and live in mansions and have nice sports cars if we give up communism. So you can see the use of this technology. Now, when, of course, Colin Bloy tried to use this technology against the Chinese, he said, of course, when he went to China, he couldn't produce the 12-bar line, he couldn't produce the checkerboard. It simply stuck in 5-bar line, and whatever he did, it wouldn't change. 5-bar line. So the energy field of China, which of course is produced by the Chinese dragon, what Colin found was when you douse and you douse earth energies, you get dragon energies, which are spirals. These are the entities that live in the earth. Think of them as the complex number for flora and fauna. So you get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get your dragon energy, a spiral, and these spirals, 7 spiral, are the so-called dragon energies. And there are 2 huge ones, one over the Caribbean, which is the American dragon, one over China, which is the South China Sea dragon. They're all fed by the gigantic storms, and they're in the watery cups. And the Chinese dragon, of course, which is the oldest, locked the earth energies of China into the 5-bar line. If you look at the Chinese flag, you'll see the 5-pointed star. And of course, since I'd split up from Colin prior to Tiananmen Square and taken the keys from Colin, remember, again, time density, Colin Bloy was losing energy, cause to produce effect me, the glorious, wonderful, kind, generous, and utterly monk-like Tim Rifat, who gained all the energy. Remember, he would fuck anything in sight, drank like a fish, was big, red-faced from drinking too much alcohol, burst blood vessels, so he didn't look after himself. And simply put, he didn't realise that the energy passed, the 007 energy passed from him to me, with the keys to the castle to use Illuminism. And when Tiananmen Square failed, his group went mad. Why did this fail? It's all working, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that bastard's taken your energy. And then, of course, they were desperate to do me in, get me to kill myself. So when I killed myself, the energy would go back to Colin. But once Colin died in 2003, the energy and the keys irrevocably came to me. And now the Illuminati are fucked. And the keys will now go on to my progeny, and because I hate children, I doubt whether I'll ever have children. So as you can see, the whole system, the keys to it are gone, they'll never come back, and the Illuminati, the entire system, is simply used by me to fuck over the West. Now this dragon spiral also is 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you douse love, you get the double spiral. This one is evil. This one is anti-good. It also looks like the penis and testicles and the ovaries the opposite way round. But when you douse love, you get this. So all lovers are destroying themselves, they're pumping evil into themselves, and they're destroying the good in themselves with love. Love is the ultimate weapon system. So please, people, love your neighbour, love each other, love God, love Theresa May and the British government, love America, love Europe, love, love, love. Because you're destroying yourself, get a husband and wife, love as much as possible, because the end user here used to be the Elohim, but of course the Elohim exist in psi space. And remember, with this technology, you simply borrow your way into the Elohim, possess them like the demon in The Exorcist, and then all the Elohim are simply possessed by yours truly. So you can see, once you build a big complex number body, you can go around and force your way into any entity in the noosphere, possess it, and then all their energy becomes yours. So the Elohim was simply possessed, rather like Linda Blair, by me. You get then the Elohim to kill themselves. We've seen the mass killing of the Elohim by all of the paedophile priests. We know now that the Christian church and its priests are simply there to bugger little boys and rape little girls, and it's covered up by all the bishops. Charles's best friend, the bishop, was covering up paedophilia, and another one of his bishop friends was a paedophile. So one can see the effect that all of the Christians are uplining to paedophiles. Paedophiles are hated, and therefore we get a paradox. All the uplines going to the Pope and the priests, they're all paedophiles, but they're hated in the noosphere. Sets up a paradox, a short circuit, as we've explained. All that energy has to go somewhere, and of course comes to me, which is fine. So please, go to church, worship your paedophile priests, and when you die, you're all going to Omega Hell. So this love energy now goes to the upline, which I've made as myself, which then feeds my complex number being, which makes me bigger and bigger, and of course is the prime power source for the super soldier. So any military customer that wants super soldiers can pay me, and they know that love, which is the ultimate weapon, will be producing and feeding the super soldiers who will be the new shock troops of the New World Order. So as you can see, Colin Bloy and his technology is absolutely beyond any stuff you saw in or would read in fantasy books and sci-fi books, because remember, all their stuff is babyish kindergarten stuff. All of this derives from pharaonic technology, and all I've done is to drag it kicking and screaming into the 21st century with a bit of babyish mathematics. We won't go into more advanced mathematics because, like for example, Octonians would be beyond people, let alone Sidonians. So I'm going to end here because now it's time for some beers. Thank you for your time. Cut.
Until next time.
I don't know.
Same channel, same place.
Finished?
Yep.
I'm going to have some beers now.